Okay, hello everybody. This is Mr. Myers here, and I'm going to teach you a little bit about how to sew. And this is a very beginner exercise. It's just the very basics. So follow along. What you'll need is a small piece of paper that you can tear off a larger piece of paper, and you'll need a bigger piece of paper like this. You'll also need a needle. Any size will do. I think smaller is better. I've got one here. And you'll need some thread. I've chosen red so that you can see my thread. Lastly, you'll need some scissors. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to pull out a good length of thread, maybe as much as an arm's length, a full arm's length of thread, and you're going to cut it. Cut it as cleanly as possible. We don't want any frayed edges. So if you do get kind of a frayed edge, cut it again, kind of at an angle even, to make sure it's a sharp cut. So sharp scissors are important. Then you pick up your needle and you very carefully, without poking yourself, hold it up in the air so you can see the sharp end is on one side and the what we call the eye of the needle is on the other side. The eye is the open area. We have to find a way to get this thread through the eye of the needle. So to do that, what I do is I lick the end of my thread. I put it in my mouth and get it kind of wet, and that makes it more easy to poke through the eye of the needle. Here we go. Once it's through, it may take some attempts here. Boom, I got it. Now I can grab the other end of that thread and pull it through. The goal is now to get the needle to be right in the middle of that thread, like a necklace almost, although you don't want to wear this necklace. And then once it's kind of in the middle, that needle in the middle of the thread, then you want to collapse the edges together, the ends I mean, pull it like this, and if you hang it, it should be right hanging at the bottom. Then you're going to take the top of your thread, you're going to loop it around like I'm doing here and tie it off. And we're going to do that 2 times. Once, I've just done it once, and we're going to do it twice. The second time you want to get it so the knot, when you pull it, the knot ends up right on top of the first knot. So now we have a double knot, like it's kind of big. And if you miss, that's okay. Do it a 3rd time until you hit it again. We want to make sure we have a nice big knot. Sometimes I even do it a 4th time, a 3rd or 4th time, or even 5th. However long it takes you to get that big knot, we need to have a big knot. Okay, there we go. I've got a nice big knot there. And I'm going to take my needle and thread and my piece of paper I showed you earlier. I can move my spool of thread to the side now and my scissors out of the way. And I'm going to pick up my small piece of paper and my large piece of paper. Now imagine that you're in trouble one day, you're off at university or something and no one's around to help you, and you've got a hole in your brand new pair of jeans. You tore it on your bicycle on the way to school. So we have a big hole here on our this is our jeans, our big piece of paper, our new pair of jeans, and there's a big ugly hole. And we want to patch our hole up so we can wear our jeans without a hole in them. And I want to take this little patch here that I bought at the store, we're pretending here, and we're going to put it on top of that imaginary hole, okay? I'm sorry if you can't see the difference here. I should have used colored paper. Now, with my patch over the imaginary hole, I'm going to take my needle and poke it through the back of my paper so that it pops out of the big paper like this. And I'm going to pull it until it stops. Then I'm going to poke it through a corner of that small piece of paper. Be careful, do not poke your fingers, it will hurt. And slide it through until you get to the bottom. There. Now we've already begun to join the 2 pieces of paper, and because you have that big knot, if you pull on it just a little bit, it will not come through your hole. So I can begin sewing now. First thing I want to do is, since I'm through the little piece of paper last, I'm going to now go up through the big piece of paper. Poke it through and I want to pull it through very slowly. We don't want any new knots to form. And you can see I've got a little, what's called a stitch. Now this next part's kind of hard. You might have to kind of guess a little bit, but we're going to try to poke it through the back side so it comes out right here next to my first hole. This is going to take a little bit of a guess here, but I can look from behind and I can kind of get it. I'm telling you, if you can do this well, you're a champ. You may have to pull it back again once in a while. It's hard to do this on video, I'm sorry. Don't poke yourself. Keep your fingers out of the way. That's one of the skills we're learning today, not poking yourself. Okay. All right. So I've got my second little hole here, and this gets easier as we go because as we go, our little piece of paper, the patch, will become fixed onto the background paper, and it'll be less likely to move. Pull it through till it stops. I got a nice second stitch there, and I want to poke it through again from the back side. Careful not to poke yourself. And I want to continue, and I'm going to do this all the way across the top of this patch until the top of the patch is fixed on to the paper. And we're going to continue like this all the way around our piece of paper on all sides, here, 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 and here. I'm going to go ahead and speed through and finish this, and I'm going to cut it so you can see the ending where I tie it off and finish my patched pair of jeans here. Okay, so now you see that I've basically finished my patch. I had to make my stitching a little bit further apart than I would have liked because I was running out of thread. I should have told you maybe 2 arm lengths instead of 1 at the beginning. Anyway, it worked out okay. It's kind of ugly, but it'll do the job. If it were a pair of jeans, I can wear it for another year after this. Anyway, so I'm going to finish up my stitching, and there's a trick to this you need to be careful and paying attention to. So I've gone all the way around, and I've come to the end right here. Now it's time to finish it off so it doesn't come undone, and I'm exposing my bare knee again. So watch carefully. I finished off by going back through the behind part of the paper, and now I'm going to begin my tie off. So I'm going to go through the front of the paper, through the back of the paper, sorry, and back to the front like normal. However, instead of pulling it completely through, I want to leave a loop on the back. And I want to run it through another hole, a new hole right next to the one I just came out of. Doesn't matter really where, just text to it anywhere. Oh, poke myself. Okay. And I'm going to bring it through the back again. And you see how I had that original loop I just left in the back side. And I'm going to run this needle now through the middle of that loop, going through a little hole in the tree, and I'm going to pull it down like this. And I like to do that one more time, so I'm going to go through the back again, one last time to finish it off, out the front, and then through the front again. And I've got that loop in the back now, just like before. And I want to run it through that loophole, just like this. And you can see how that pulls into a nice little knot. And I can also kind of tie it off one last time just to be sure. There we go. Okay. So in the end, to make it look neat and clean, you want to snip off your excess strings so it doesn't look sloppy on the inside. Cut off those extra strings, and your patch is done. Your jeans will live to see another day. I'm glad you came to this MYP enrichment. Please take a picture of your accomplished patch, or not jeans patch, of course, but paper patch, and upload it to here for attendance.